From the great state of Texas, you are now listening to Skip Noise Podcast, a Rounded Edge Media production. Thank you so much for joining us. And by us, of course, I'm referring to Mexican Nostradamus and myself, Benji, here for another fantastic episode. Unfortunately, the Brown Python is unavailable for the evening, but he is going to have a very nice evening, I assure you.
Yes,
so don't worry one bit
happy.
about, he will have a good evening. Don't worry one bit about Mr. Rick, the Brown Python. But something else we don't really have to worry about if all goes as planned. What's that, Ben?
Well, today, and this is breaking news, so it's about as breaking as it gets because, we record once a week and typically we try to summarize everything, but this actually happened today. So check your calendars. It is October 6th, 2022. And today, President Joe Biden, despite what a lot of people say, pardoned thousands of marijuana convictions. In particular, on simple possession. So basically, that's just like it's basically federal prosecutions for people who just had marijuana, who didn't have like compounding interests, like things of like having guns or trying to become like interstate, massive drug dealers. These are just people who had weed. He just pardoned thousands of convictions. Now, the reason why this is a big deal, beyond the fact that it's something that should have been done a long time ago, is the fact that this starts paving the way towards rescheduling of marijuana, or possibly I don't think it'll go this far, but I think possibly there could be a possibility of decriminalization. So this was a big move, and for all the loyal listeners out there, this was part of the game plan that I said for Democrats to even have a chance of winning at these midterms, right? First one was forgiving student loans. Didn't do that. Did a shitty job. Next part was marijuana. So I think they're going to come through with that. That they can probably stomach and get over some of their whatever biases or whatever's happening. But currently, there's a state bill. There's a bill in Congress sponsored by AOC, and there's a bill in the Senate. I think it's Schumer, that is also trying to reschedule, decriminalize marijuana on the federal level. So this is a big movement. This pardoning, if you really look at it from a structural part, is the impediment before either decriminalization or reschedule. Because you don't want to do something, and then the next thing you know, the thing that these people are in jail for solely has been decriminalized. So this is a structural impediment that's being removed before a major marijuana recertification or reclassification or whatever. So this is huge. This is big. We could possibly see federal decriminalization coming up.
Yeah. Hey, so I've got a question for you. In your opinion, do you think that it's kind of a two-part question? One, the student loan forgiveness, do you think that was part of the plan? Do you think that was botched, just bad execution?
No, I think
it
was
foresight, or do you think that was part of? In other words, do you see what I'm getting at? Do you think that that was the intended, or did they not think that was going to? And then the second part of my question is like, because do you think that this comes on the heels of that because of the failed attempt at the student loan? Like, in other words, was this plan B? Like, hey, if the student loan debt doesn't go off and that doesn't help us, midterm wise, do we pull the fucking marijuana shit?
Well, I honestly don't think any of this would have happened without the overturning of Roe versus Wade. I think Democrats were basically accepting their fates. They were going to lay in the graves and die, and they knew it was over. I think the reversal of Roe versus Wade basically reversed the whole party mantra and doctrine and our dogma, if you like to say. I think it breathed life, and it gave a push towards these progressive tendencies because they're aiming at a lot of women voters. And so they've got that locked up, right? If you look at the National Voting Registry, there's tons of numbers that I don't have by heart, but if you notice, when it comes to female versus male voters registering, it's at an all-time high. There is a statistical significance of female voters being registered versus males at this point in time. So you throw in the aspect, the possibility of abortion playing a big game into it. Now you want to solidify the base. And to be quite honest with you, I think you're probably going to capture libertarians with the decriminalization of marijuana, because in the end, most people that believe in the reduction of the state are going to see that, the war on drugs is a complete failure, and it's just an expensive thing. We're just running coffers out to try to fight this failing war. So I think the Decriminalization Act. So this, I think, essentially, none of this would have done anything until Roe versus Wade. Yeah. But the student loan thing was a complete failure. And if you look at it, it's still a complete failure. I mean, it's going to go to court. To be quite honest with you, I don't know why they just didn't say forgive everyone's loans. Because if you think you're going to get your $10,000 taken off without some type of penalty in a conservative state, you're fucked. That's not going to happen. There's already, 9 states that are already trying to charge anyone that basically applies and gets it with some type of tax on it. They're considering it a gift.
The biggest thing that comes to the forefront of my mind right now is how disgusting is this state we're in. Like everything you're describing, you're doing a great job of like really spelling out side of the gravity of it. So like pointing out, for example, the reaction in the conservative states that these things that the Fed pulls for political, like, in other words, like it's all about the gaming between the two sides for the purposes of election. That's all. Like there's no genuine policy movement. And that sounds almost like obvious at this point. But what I really mean is like just drumming up the greatest hit, or like swinging for these home run swings every time for like, oh, let's, you know what I mean? Let's overturn Roe v. Wade. Like the fuck? Like we're at that point. Like in other words, we're having to go so big and play to the crowd, right? And like we got to play Hotel California every fucking time we go out on stage. At that point, it's not even a concert anymore. It's just like, let's just see how high we can get the crowd decibels.
Right.
Like no genuine, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
no, I get you.
Is pulled from it. And it's like every single thing is like, oh, okay, well, you overturn Roe v. Wade, legalize marijuana. Fuck it. Like it's only these greatest hits thing to get the shit going.
Well, yeah. To use like a football analogy, right? You're stuck. You're losing, right? And
Hail Mary,
first
like
quarter
every play.
Well, no, the marijuana now is a Hail Mary, right? But the Roe versus Wade overturning is a fumble. The winning team fumbled. Right. So the Democrats
great analogy.
So, because I'll be honest with you, a majority of Republicans didn't want that to happen.
Yeah,
they did not. And I'll be quite honest with you, that's what happens when you put and I would kind of detail them as a more of a activist court now. I mean, I think that's what anyone would say. They're very a conservative activist court, and I think they're even moving beyond the scope of even what the people put them on there. Because I think Brett Kavanaugh is, even at this point, he's kind of like, wait, fuck, shit. Like you even see Kavanaugh's decisions are starting to waver to becoming like, well, fuck, maybe I have to be liberal now, because shit's starting to get really crazy here, because now there's, Alito and Thomas were alluding to, the gay marriage and all this. So basically it's even pushing him. So I think, the analogy is, the fumble, and now the Hail Mary is weed legalization. So yeah, don't everyone out there, don't take this as anything as a good or a anything that's special. The Democratic Party still doesn't give a shit about you, just like the Republican Party doesn't give a shit about you. But what they are trying to do here is they are trying to capture a mainstream thing. It's kind of funny because Trump came to power with the populist movement, right? Like, oh yeah, you fuck the system, elect me, I'm not an insider. Well, now you're seeing the Democrats play on the populist movement of two major things, which is, I mean, most people, and this is just reality, most people believe in some type of form of abortion's okay. Most shit goes bad whenever you start going to a later term.
Yeah.
That's a different decision. But 70% of the country kind of favors, legalization of marijuana.
Yeah.
So they're sniping votes here. So this is pretty big. This is huge because the student loan thing was never going to happen. Biden was the one who actually he helped author the bill into law to keep you from ever getting rid of them through bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's part of that industry. So he's never going to you're never going to get rid of student loans. Hey, ever.
The financial system built around that is way too fucking in concrete to fuck with that. But as a political, I'm trying, it's more to like you're throwing at a target you're not going to hit, but right. Hey, I threw at the target. I tried to hit the shit. It is a
fake pass. It was like, yeah, exactly. It was a fake pass. Democrats like, oh, we're cool. We're going to take some money off and it's going to help people. But really, it didn't do shit. And to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this shit's held up in courts. People are going to have to pay taxes on it. In the end, it was a shitty gesture. He should have did something else, but that's neither here nor there. This is a big move. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, and I'm not even trying to justify breaking the law because that's not really, but the reality is there's a lot of people that, 78% of the country has smoked marijuana. You don't see 78% of the country in jail. Right. A lot of people have had it. And a lot of people still do it. But the reality is these poor individuals got caught with it and they're in jail.
Right.
And that's a big thing.
And there's a whole process set up to it's like if you set up a fucking net where there's no fish, do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all about where you put the net. So if you go patrol certain areas all the fucking time and light up people on the street and start asking them questions, chances are some of those people are gonna, some of those people are gonna have weed and they're gonna have to answer about it and if blah 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 blah. So you're just creating more opportunity, whereas you're in other areas where there's probably just as much weed per person.
Yep.
But they're not getting searched, or it's just not in
the face
of the law enforcement.
Well, it's like drunk drivers, right? I mean, and one night, let's say there's in drunk drivers, there's 50,000 drunk drivers every night, right? Maybe 1,000 get caught. It's 1 in 50, but it still doesn't help the situation. And I think that's where we're at with marijuana. I'm glad that he's in expunging records because I think, especially if you look into what he's expunging, which is just simple possession, which basically means you had over 2 ounces or something. You were just a dumbass. You got caught.
Yeah.
It was a federal thing. Some of these people were caught up in other federal investigations. They were just happenstance. So while it's not, I think it should probably be anyone with those type of convictions should be expunged because at some point we have to really start helping people that lost their lives due to this something. But nonetheless, I think it's a big thing. But you do see it's reverberating into our state politics because you see Beto O'Rourke going the first. Soon as this hit, Beto O'Rourke tweets, "As soon as I'm governor, I'm going to decriminalize and we're going to legalize marijuana."
Course, just like we said he would.
As soon as I became as soon as I become governor, we're going to legalize marijuana and expunge the records of those arrested for marijuana. Which, ladies and gentlemen, that's a big fucking talk. So this is a big deal. This is a huge fucking deal. I think it's a huge fucking deal because the next thing that this does that people don't realize is that if we reschedule marijuana, the money that comes from marijuana sales is now real money. That shit can be deposited in real banks. Doesn't have to be ran around in cash. This shit becomes real. And when shit gets into banks and it becomes real, people respect it a lot more. All of a sudden, you got a whole lot more political donations. We're talking about a $50 billion a year fucking industry that now
that they just created.
Exactly. Real lobbyists, real power. So,
bro, they made their
someone entering the party.
They're trying to their oil industry, their natural gas and oil industry.
And that's what's going to happen
for what that is for the conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
That's their biggest, you know what I mean? By far, dude.
Well, look at Kraft Foods, Marlboro. I mean, Marlboro already has a division prepared for marijuana legalization. That's what some people don't realize. They have their marketing, they have their setup, they have their farming, they have everything. All they're waiting for is for it to turn into a criminalized on the federal level and schedule movement. Dude, we're talking about the amount of money that you're going to see from lobbyists is going to be insane.
Well, and not only that, but you already have, in these liberal states, a legal industry. Like it only takes like seconds for if that opens up. And then now now you have a supply chain network opens up. If you get legalization in between, interstate, in the interstate scope, if you will.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that opens up the entire industry. And then, like you said, the political donations and Democratic Party really, that's a big boost in strength.
Well, I honestly, I see them also going for the conservatives. I think they're going to buy everybody off. The fact is that they just need to be legitimized. Once decriminalization on the federal level, or at least a schedule movement occurs where they're moved off of 1 to 2, or maybe even a possible 3 or 5, shit starts getting real foggy, because in reality, things are going to change that dramatically. I mean, imagine if it becomes a 3 to 5, or even consider, that means that it could be technically at a 5 in some states. That could be sold over counter at a drugstore. The legitimacy at that point becomes significant. So I think this is huge. I think this is something we got to keep an eye on. I mean, he's doing it. I mean, you can't gauge how much this is being done right before the midterms, which is a big fucking deal.
It's everything.
Everything. It's huge. It's huge. I think they want to keep the Senate. I think this is how they're trying to keep the Senate. I think that, I mean, to be realistic, you're going to see the Democrats lose the majority in the House. That's going to happen. How much they lose the majority is going to be a significant thing. And I think that's where I break from a lot of people in regards to like breaking points and counterpoints and all these motherfucking numbtards. I think I break in that fact that I really believe that the House will be a tightly contested situation. I don't think the red wave that was coming, I think, is over. And I still really, really, really believe in in 2016, we called the secret Trump voters. I really believe in the secret abortion voters. There's a lot of women out there that have had that understand, they're empathetic. And I think that while they may say, oh, I'm going to vote for Joe Smo Republican, when they get in that booth and they think about, do I really want to lose this ability, or do I want to have my fellow women not have this choice? Shit's going to change quick. So I don't know. It's going to be tight. And if you throw marijuana into the situation, let's just say this is going to be one of the fucking craziest midterms ever. And if the Democrats somehow win and keep control of the House, which I don't think it's possible, but if they do, batten the fucking hatches, because shit is going to get wild. So craziness, man, craziness.
But before we go to the next topic, let me take a brief moment just to honor my best friend, Mexican Nostradamus. If you guys are you brought up the breaking points and all these shows, just because we're not pumped into the quasi mainstream or even the underground mainstream media, if you aren't listening to motherfucking Mexican Nostradamus every week, get your fucking shit together. This is a dude who's never even worked in Washington.
Don't need to.
Don't need to. This is somebody observing what's been going on for the last fucking 30 years, right? An intelligent gentleman. I just basically, all I'm saying is, if you're not listening to fucking Skip the Noise on a regular basis to hear Mexican Nostradamus fucking broadcast what's going on in the United States of America, you're missing out and you're a fucking idiot. So moving on, there was a big tragedy. Well, we're fucking laughing, of course. And in true Skip the Noise fashion, I transition with some fucking cackling. Goddamn,
I know. Worst possible tries. I really wanted to fucking stop, and you're just like, oh, if you don't listen to him, you're a fucking cocksucker. So
bro,
I couldn't stop. You, but yeah, this one's bad. Yeah. This one's really fucking bad.
So let's stop laughing. Hold on, take a dead serious, like
well, no, okay. I hate to break this to you, everybody.
Hard break. Hold on.
After the weed thing, everything is going to be pretty fucked up. We got 2 fucking nasty topics, and then we lighten up after that. But unfortunately, to try to stay in as much of a respectful pose as possible, unfortunately, we have the United States is not alone. And they're mass.
1 second, man. Before you do that, let's pause. Let's clear the board.
Yeah.
Pause. Let's pause for like 2 seconds and then start again. Go ahead.
All right. Unfortunately, the United States is not alone in horrific mass shootings. And it's not like this is something that's always been just solely the United States. I mean, you had the terrorist attacks in Russia and several places. You've had India. You've had a lot of countries, but unfortunately, Thailand is now joining that in what is characterized as this nation, as Thailand's the worst national tragedy they've ever had. 37 children have been killed, some shot, some stabbed. 37 people, of them, I believe 28 were children. The guy attacked basically he stabbed children as they slept in a nursery. These are very young children. I believe pre-K age. So one first thing we want to go and say is, prayers for the family. As a father, as a human being, you have to think that this is probably some of the sickest shit someone could do. The individual was a former police officer.
Jesus.
He had apparently had an issue with I believe he got laid off or something. And he just lost his shit and decided to attack the weakest people he could. And not only that, but he killed his own family. Just innate horrors. So, that's the one thing, I think I forgot what movie it came from, but from Contact. It said, whenever Jodie Foster travels to the alien world and sees a figure that looks like our father, he goes, "You're capable of such beautiful things, of such beautiful dreams, but also of such horrible nightmares." And that is what that guy did. He destroyed the lives of countless parents out there that are never going to see their kids again. So, once again, we have to look at the mental and also just the reality. Like there is a real growing sentiment out there that when something negative happens to somebody, that they have to impact their society, their community, to make them feel their pain. And I think that's just something that, if you look at what happened in Uvalde, Santa Fe, Columbine, you see these individuals that take out their anger and their frustration on the weakest people that they can find. And it's just in Sandy Hook. I mean, you just see this sickness. It's a pervasive sickness. And, you look at Thailand, who is if you really look, it's a relatively friendly country. I mean, I think violence wise and crime wise, very low.
Well, except for prostitution.
But that's not a crime there, Ted.
Yeah,
it's not a crime.
Actually, you're fair point.
Not a crime there. They do what they do
because
they do what they do.
You're absolutely right.
Hey man, wherever they roll, they roll.
I could not have been shooshed more effectively. You're absolutely right.
Just saying, it is legal. But in the end, we do have another sad thing, and it's he's just a former police officer who was fired because apparently, and he was fired for, as I'm reading, he was fired for methamphetamine possession.
Well, that
so he had meth, and he felt like he was wronged for being fired. It's just just once again, just on the sad situation. We don't try to, we're not trying to bum anybody out. We're not trying to say this, but we're trying to also say that I think if you're out there in the world, right, no matter what you're doing, you got to really consider the consequences of things that you're thinking of doing and what's happening in your life. And remember that, yes, things are tough right now, right? The economy's failing. People don't know what the fuck they are. The world is just a fucked up place. But you have to realize that your pain is your pain. You have to hold on to that. That's who you are. Your pain, your problems are your fucking pain and your fucking problems. Don't impact them on other people, right? So if you had a shitty day at work, don't go home and be a dick to your family. If things are fucking going bad, and if you get fired because you're on meth, don't fucking kill people, because in the end, that's you. If you feel like killing somebody, work something else out. But don't do that to those poor people.
You know what? You owe it to the world. Like, there's nothing that you did inherently in your soul that allowed you to deserve to live. Right. That was just a pure blessing that you were on this earth. You didn't do anything to influence that. You just got to be born.
Right.
Okay. And so as a person who got to be born, you have responsibilities. Your thoughts are fucking responsibilities. You know what I mean? You piece of shit. Like, it's your fucking responsibility as a human to manage your own thoughts. If my own thoughts are going to lead to actions that are going to negatively, cause sorrow and horror and pain and destroy, you either do two things. You either build or you destroy. It's energies. It's managing energy. Are they going positive? Are they going negative? And you're the engine, right? So everything that happens in the world originates with a thought. I don't give a fuck what it is.
Yeah.
Fortune 500 billionaire companies. If it wasn't a thought, it wasn't an idea. So if you backtrack that, if you're somebody who, what I'm saying is, you have a responsibility. These are crazy times. So if you think you can just sit in your own little corner and, I'm not directly infected. No, you have a responsibility just like every other human being on this earth to manage those energies. So what do? You might not have the power to affect everything in one swoop, like some, president of a country or a congressman or whatever, but you do have the power to impact what's going on your fucking block, or what's going on your household. Because let me tell you about this guy. So he commits, basically, like, there's no redeeming, like, you go to war, right? It's like, okay, we're fighting over territory. I kill somebody because that sucks. I don't feel good about it, but it's like, hey, I'm defending my countrymen. In other words, there's a conversation there. Going to sleeping children and stabbing them, defenseless sleeping children, murdering them, and causing all that pain and suffering for not only the families directly, but for the community, for everybody who works there, everybody. Here in Texas, that happened in Thailand.
Yeah.
I'm bummed out. I don't know one fucking person that worked in that building. I don't even know the guy who did it. I don't know anybody involved, but I know that causes me pain, not only because it's like I have to think about somebody dying, but it's because I have to think about, as humans, we produced a piece of shit that is actually even capable of that. Fuck this place. No, I can't think like that. All I can do is control my fucking actions. Right. So, not to get preachy, but every single person, if you think you don't affect the world, you can either decide to affect your surroundings negatively, or you can affect them positively. So fuck this piece of shit. Basically.
Yeah. I mean,
final stamp. I agree. On that.
Yeah, I agree. It's a sadness. It's a sickness. And unfortunately, it just keeps happening. So, and while we don't try to bum everybody out, we do want to let everyone know when these things happen, because, to be honest with you, it is reality.
Yeah, it is.
We need to know that, guys, guess what?
These.
Yeah. And then also, the stupid shit you say sometimes can touch off people.
Yeah.
Putting these, when you put these seeds out there in social media, or things that you say or do, sometimes you gotta remember, there's people quite a bit weaker than you.
Right.
And they're going to do stupid things. And unfortunately, this guy, He's just never gonna. He just crossed the Rhine, and he never came back.
Yeah, no,
and unfortunately, he took 37 people with him. So, may he rest in hell, and may he never dine at the great hall in Valhalla, and may he never find any type of peace, no matter where he goes. May his life be nothing but the hell that he has built. So, fuck him. Moving on to a more, but also mutual destructive type topic. I do want to touch on one more thing that's going on, and I think it's been a little dramatized, but at the same time, it has not been spoken about as much, and that's in regards to what's happening right now with nuclear threats. I think right now we're in a very precarious situation. If everyone noticed, there's been missiles lobbed by North Korea over, South Korea and Japan, and you have Putin basically re-ratifying his rules of engagement in regards to using tactical nuclear weapons. In particular, in particular over the annexed territories.
Yes.
And currently we have a Ukrainian force that has just taken over one of those annexed territories. So they are actually in doctrine, from what Russia has spoken, within rules of engagement for nuclear attack. This is scary, right? It's fucking terrifying. This is reality, folks. And will they use the bombas? Probably not. And if no one knows what the bomba is, look it up. It is a very large nuclear weapon that has a lot of issues, but they will probably be using small tactical nuclear weapons. Is this a reality? Probably so. Is North Korea doing something along the lines of that? Probably not. They just like doing stupid shit. So I try not to be very much care for them. But will we see a small tactical nuclear weapon used in the eastern regions of Ukraine or Donetsk? The scary part is I pause, because I don't know. And so will that happen? There's a possibility, right? Yeah, and I think that we got to ask ourselves a question: if they do it, are we going to do anything about it?
Exactly. And what's scary is
no.
The fact that no, we're not. No, for sure.
Nope, we're not doing shit.
What's terrifying about it is, like you said, it's a chess move, kind of, right, with the wording of the their new nuclear engagement policies.
Yep.
And so by giving themselves basically in their own whatever legal permission, I guess, so to speak, without the kind of simple way to engage that way. And like you said, it's we're probably not going to see like a Hiroshima type shit. But there's a long no. But what I mean is there's a spectrum, and so if it is small scale, that's fucking scary, because it's still like you already opened the door,
right?
You know what I mean? And it's like that's like once that it's a Pandora's box, dude.
Well,
I think I don't know if you can go back. I mean, I don't know. It's
I think you're right.
Scary.
Well, we opened the Pandora's box, right? Hiroshima, Nagasaki.
No, for sure.
But we did. And just to let everyone know, though, like the Russian bomba and very large nuclear weapons, I believe, are 50 to 100 times that of Hiroshima. So small tactical nuclear weapons are similarly close to Hiroshima, except that their power level is high, but I don't think the radius or something. Someone explained it to me once, but there is a possibility, guys, we're going to see some nuclear weapon usage by Russia. But beyond that, is there a chance of nuclear threat? Because I think that's what's been going around right now. I think especially in right-wing media, left-wing media, of course, is completely just ignoring this topic, right? They don't want to talk about it. They want to talk about COVID or something. They don't want to touch on this because it's the scariest fucking thing in reality, right? But the right-wing media, of course, is running with it. Putin's going to a nuclear war, blah, blah, blah. Where are we really on this topic? I'll be honest with you, it makes me pause. Will Russia use a small tactical nuclear weapon? I think the inevitability of them using it is pretty close. Did they use one in Afghanistan? No. And that was a humiliating failure for them. Mm-hmm. So that history is on our side. But the problem is that back then they had, as much as people want to say about communists, they had the sharpest rulers. These guys were ruthless cocksuckers, but they knew how to survive in a system that was different. Whereas you have Putin now, who is just a sociopath.
Yeah, he's different. It's a different thing because of Putin. He's a egomaniacal oligarch.
Yeah, it's fucking scary. It's fucking scary. He has like a fucking $1 billion mansion.
Yeah, no, he's
on the Black Sea.
Yeah, no, he runs. Well, that's the thing is like, as you know, how many the oligarchs in Russia, right? Like how?
Oh yeah,
it's a joke. Like it's a
John
meme,
Wick. It's like
but yeah, what I mean is like it's a meme how rich they are, to the extent that like there's jokey commercials. Remember when he's like, look, I have miniature giraffe. It's
exactly
very fun, my pet. And it's like, because obviously he's got enough money in the world to like have a miniature
clone a fucking miniature
or what. Yeah. So like, it's a joke, like how rich they are. Well, he controls all of that. Like, in other words, like he can shut the lights off for any one of those dudes.
And he has,
if they like a lot of
motherfuckers falling out of buildings. So having medical procedures going wrong.
Can you imagine how, like, in other words, there's a documented how rich he is, but there's the real how rich he is.
Oh, he is fucking
the real how rich he is. Like, in other words, like he could shut the lights off on any one of the people who are as rich as you.
Bro, who has Scrooge McDuck for real.
Oh, he owns all. Yeah,
he personally owns all of it. He probably owns Michael Jackson's like fucking originals. That dude has more money than he knows.
Dude, he probably owns Michael Jackson's soul.
Like, dude, he probably does
as an NFT.
It's in a box, bro. It's like fucking what's it called? Pulp Fiction style. It's in a fucking briefcase, dude. Right now, American Special Forces are trying to sneak it out to try to get Michael Jackson's soul back so they can prosecute him for all of his fucking pedophilia. I think in the end, we really have to ask ourselves, though, right? I think that's, to me, the most interesting crux of this situation is, what do we do? Let's say a small tactical nuclear weapon. Now, this wouldn't be the same yield as Hiroshima and Nagasaki because they were very populated areas. But let's say, for instance, a battalion of Ukrainian troops are closing in on the Eastern Front. And tactically, if this battalion was evaporated, it would give you a significant positional advantage. That's where the small tactical nuclear weapons can come in. So let's say they fire one, they take out a Ukrainian battalion, 10,000 men, they're all dead. Are we really ready to go all in for those guys?
That's what I'm saying. And
no,
we're not. And
I know I'm not. Fuck that.
Here's why it's even scarier. Because we know that, it's like dipping the toe in the water. Like, we know we're not going to go all in over some shit like that. Because we're not, it opens the door ever so slightly for, like, so here's the thing. Imagine how many small scale black market fucking nuclear warheads are just in existence. You remember seeing all those shows and it's talking about like how this shit is all over the place. So if that becomes a thing where it's like you can kind of get away with that, does that make sense? What I'm saying is
no, it totally does.
That almost opens up the entire shit.
Well, and the other part is what happens if they just say, "Oh, we've been framed." Like, this is serious shit. Like
we didn't actually do that.
Honest with you, I'm being quite honest. It's like this,
or just like the pipeline, the Nord Stream pipelines. It's like,
the Swiss apparently found evidence, so this it's pretty fucking sure. I'll be quite honest. While the Russians are they're tough motherfuckers. they are not very thorough when it comes to anything. So they've apparently found evidence that it's basically determined as detonations. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the detonations blew up and left a metal thing in Russian right by the pipeline. So that there's a guy named Jimmy Dore who like had a whole fucking thing about like it wasn't the Russians. It was. That's dumbass. Funny. Sometimes you got to stop drinking too much Kool-Aid. Hey, everybody out there, look, I love Rogan. I love all this shit, but at some point you have to stop sucking fucking right-wing dick, because guess what? The anti-narrative isn't always reality. Like, don't get me wrong. A lot of times the narrative to be like everyone steers people into a narrative.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's wrong, but it's not always wrong. And objectivity and common sense kind of tells you when to do that. But I think everyone's lost that. But nonetheless, that's what I'm saying with this nuclear threat. I think there is a possibility. And I think this is more of a thinking question for everyone out there. Like I said, I know what I would do if they nuked Ukrainian battalion. Nope. It's not time for us to launch at all. And like, don't get me wrong, I mourn those. I feel sad for those people. I feel sad for their families, but fuck that. Because I don't want to go. I don't want a fucking international nuclear war. I don't want none of that.
No, but fuck that.
Fuck that shit. So, ladies and gentlemen, at some point we got to start asking ourselves, how in are we really? Is this really what we want to do?
Well,
and so, you know what I'm saying?
That's
the peacemaking things is not good.
Yeah, that's the whole argument early on for like, hey, wait a minute, let's maybe slow down with investing in fucking.
Wow, we got $675 million
zillion dollars
again.
Yeah. Like, it's tough to watch, man.
And Ukrainians, just to throw it at you guys, and nothing wrong with Ukrainians. Hey, I feel you. You're freedom fighters. You have, if there is a right or wrong meter, you're on the right side of this. What Russia's did's fucked up. But let's be real. You don't want, these guys want to, like, they're trying to get like long range missiles from the United States so they can strike Russia. You guys need to slow your fucking roll.
Pump the fucking brakes.
Fucking really slow your fucking roll. Capture the eastern parts, beef it up, put a wall, do something.
Bro, because if they completely overran Ukraine,
I
mean, that would suck. But like, hey, man, it does, you know,
I'm good.
We move on. Like, we're good.
Bro, guys, I hate to break it to you guys. We grew up in a time that there was a Czechoslovakia.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, man,
there was Bosnia,
redrawn border, dude. Redrawn borders in that part of the world is not going to move the fucking needle.
Yeah, bro.
For us,
fucking dude, like I said, there was a Czechoslovakia. There was parts of there's a lot of fucking little
Serbia, fucking Serbia, Croatia, all that shit, dude.
Yeah, bro, we're good. And guess what? None of us lost any sleep. So. But I'm not trying to be mean against Ukraine. I feel them.
It's the people. Then this we're talking about the political kind of.
Yeah, we're talking about the political part. But I'll be quite honest with you.
Yeah, the actual people in Ukraine. No, fucking.
You guys got to consider
the Russian,
this.
Dude, in the Russian, you know, the family. War is terrible.
Yeah, bro. Tons of Russians, and dude, there's about 1 billion of them trying to escape to the border in Georgia right now.
Holy shit! I wanted to bring this up on the show.
Yeah, billion people.
Y'all talk
fucking running.
Y'all touched. Bro, and not only that, I don't know if I heard it on, was it Rogan? Somebody said the #1 Google search in Russia right now is how to break your own fucking leg with a cement block.
Yes, cinder block. And I haven't seen the video, but it's apparently pretty atrocious. Where they basically like somebody like puts the leg in between the cinder blocks or something, and then just snaps.
Fuck that. Dude.
So that will keep you from having to serve. But that's desperation, right? That's what happened in Vietnam. Yeah. That's what happened to people in Vietnam. I mean, fucking Trump, he never went to war.
Yeah.
I mean, people are scared when death's on the line, and here we are. And I think we're all this. Okay, this is like, and I don't want to trivialize it, because I think at some point we're going to see the real numbers, but I think there's about 100,000 dead from this conflict already. Soldiers, 100,000 dead and casualties, you know, like maimed for life type people. There's at least 100,000 already. But in this type of engagement, that's just the beginning. Like that's like whenever you see the two guys in the hallway, like circling each other, like talking shit. This is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Like a real punch hasn't been thrown yet. Real punch has not happened because Russia, who we all know has always been a paper tiger. I don't care what anybody says. I don't really think we have much to worry about their intercontinental ballistic missiles. I'm always going to state that. I know a lot of people don't believe that. If you see what they do, I guarantee you half the missiles they launch will blow up in Russia because they have no quality control and literally don't give a fuck. So that being said, it just takes a couple of tactical nukes to basically wipe out a whole front line of troops. There's no escaping the heat of the sun or the radiation of an atom. There's no escaping that. There's nothing you can do. You're fucking dead, dude. You become a chalk outline against the wall. So nonetheless, I do think that we do have a lot of questions to ask. And on the nuclear clock, I know they already, they have that, the nuclear clock, it's at 11:59, midnight. That was stupid. Okay. Cause guess what? Now it's really at a fucking 11:59. Yeah. This is probably the closest we've been since the Cuban Missile Crisis. So, but
2 minutes to midnight.
But is it really though? Because I guarantee you,
that's what that song's about.
We're not launching, guys, and I hope of all the dumbasses out there, no one fucking thinks about doing it because it's stupid. But anyways, moving on to a little less. What I get a little less deadly / end of the world type thing.
We climbed our way out of the fucking fire.
Get out of there. Fuck, dude, that was tough.
Jesus, that was dark. That was dark, dude. I'm in a good mood, dude. That was tough. I didn't really want to go on that. I didn't pay for that boat ride, but we went on it and we finished.
We did it. Well, I tell you I know somebody that not only didn't pay for any boat rides, but basically just said, fuck it, is an American chess player who's now a grandmaster chess player. And he has decided by the name of Hans Neumann. Hans Neumann. Got it. Basically has been accused of cheating over 100 times now. He was playing against another player, another world I guess chess player, and the world chess player after one move said, fuck this, I'm out, you're cheating, and basically left the tournament and said, I'm not going to do this. What
were the mechanics of it? What was he? I'm
well,
not
see,
that's the
thing he was accused by basically the Norwegian champion Magnus Carlsen. I mean, that's about Norwegian
the most
of a
fucking Norwegian.
Yeah,
that's the Norwegian name. Like, there's not a more like, it'd be like, what was the fucking Johnny Blue Jeans in America?
It is, right? It's like fucking Johnny Appleseed is Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen. Like he has he has a shaved hair, long. He has shaved heads on the sides, like long braided hair. And he only travels by Viking longboat.
For sure. And he's gonna fuck your girlfriend no matter what
all day long, and he's gonna do it better than you ever could. And he's gonna like when he's done, he's gonna spit on your face as you're crying. So Magnus Carlsen, the cocksmith, the super chess champion, basically stated that there's no, I think chess, and I'm not a chess aficionado. I like playing, but I'm not like some fucking chess super badass, clearly. But apparently there's a pattern of movements, and that's how they kind of end up winning or don't. And so Magnus Carlsen, he after sharpening his axe and pillaging some villages, when he was playing Mr. Hans Neumann, he basically realized like there's a irregular pattern to his movements, things that just wouldn't make sense in a normal game of chess. Got beat and immediately left the tournament, telling them, hey, like, this guy's fucking cheating. So apparently Hans Neumann they basically been audited by chess.com, I guess, who's like this big chess online type thing where people literally like they fight it out. I mean, this is like fucking like
they analyze the games and all the moves, and they're like,
well, yeah, and said, wait,
fighting over like, well, no, oh shit.
Well, no, they went through all of his games, and now they said he cheated over 100 times at least. And there's also suspicion he somehow is cheating games whenever he's playing against someone face to face.
What the fuck?
So he probably has like a Bluetooth installed in his ass. Something's happening. So nonetheless, we have an American who is now the best chess cheater in the world. So it's pretty amazing.
So I'm not even smart enough to know like how you would cheat in chess. So this is a really honest question. Would it be that he's like receiving AI suggestions from like a Bluetooth or something? Or like what would be?
Who knows? It could be.
Because in other words, like if it's a person.
Well, if you utilize AI, it's going to win, right? Because AI is going to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because there's, in other words, like in chess, it's not like poker where there's like hidden qualities of the game. Like in other words, the board's there. Like you see the moves that the other player. So there's not like secrets like card games.
Right.
So in other words, cheating would be like, I presume something like, well, a computer, like
this is how they stated it. While his performance in some of these matches may seem to be within the realm of some statistical possibility, the probability of any single player performing this well across this many games is incredibly low. In addition to this, the manual review conducted by a team of trained analysts was, in our eyes, conclusive enough to strongly suggest Hans was cheating. So they really went through this shit. So they really geeked out on trying to find out what this dude was doing. They went all in, bro.
Can you imagine being like in one of those conversations?
I mean, dude, I'm terrified of Magnus Carlsen. What? I gotta see this guy's fucking picture. I'm gonna look up fucking Magnus Carlsen.
Watch him just be dorky and shit.
Where is his fucking picture? Oh my god, where is this Thor? Sorry, guys, we're gonna Magnus. We're going to look up Magnus Carlsen as you can hear me typing, because guess what, folks? We are our own.
Magnus we don't Carlsen. Have no reason.
We are our own researchers. We don't have a young Jamie. We just have us and our keyboards.
Really just you. Because I don't
it really keeps going in. Magnus Carlsen. Okay, he is not Thor, ladies and gentlemen. He is definitely not Thor. He is, he's yeah. You know what? I'd be quite honest with you.
Not like what I was expecting. Pillage any villages?
He's not pillaging any village. I'd be quite honest with you.
Foreign hordes.
I'd be quite honest with you. I think his father was really shooting for the stars with that name. It didn't work out the way he thought, because his kid came.
Yeah, you got to try.
His kid was a chess champion. He's not a longboat or a longshoreman. But nonetheless, we have this massive fucking chess cheating scandal, and it's upturning the world of chess. But
I guess so, man. That's a tight world, though.
It is a tight world. But guess what? For my little meandering and fucking around and checking out all these stories, all these assholes are cheating. Right? All these assholes are cheating because they're studying every single move of every single opponent and understand their scope of moves, right? So they're not really trying to play somebody in a real battle of the brains. It's like, oh, I've studied everything you've ever done. I know what every move you make, and that's what I'm doing. So really, it's just a memorization. There isn't. And essentially that's why I think AI won, because it's memorizing how many moves, etc. So, Is this on the same level as a nuclear threat, or anything along the lines of that? No, but I guarantee you, if you look at this story, it's gotten a fuck ton more press coverage than the fact that we are very close to a nuclear war. So that's why I bring this shit up. There's more people talking about that there's a fucking asshole who cheated on chess.com than they're talking about the Russians talking about using fucking small tactical nuclear weapons. Dude, so that's why I bring that up.
Back to my rant about personal decisions. right? You're also responsible for what you consume. You know what I mean? So
very true.
You can decide to draw your attention on, getting your dick all fucking wagged out for some chess player who's cheating, or you can realize that there's an actual possibility of nuclear fucking war
dick all
between two sovereign nations.
Bro. You don't want to get that shit wagged out.
Don't get that shit wagged out.
Oh boy.
Create new phrases. Every episode we'll create new phrases.
I like wagged out. I like it. I like where we're going. But nonetheless, that's the crazy part, right? You see
I like it.
That shit, you see that. So you hear more about this fucking chess player. But another person you're hearing a fuck ton about is Elon Musk, as he has decided after threat of some severe lawsuits that he wants to buy Twitter now again. And he wants to do it at the $44 billion proposed price, which would pay every shareholder $54. Pretty quick turnaround here.
Yeah.
For Mr. Elon.
What gives? What do you think was the change?
I think the lawsuit had merit. I think he knew it. So now he's trying to settle in at his original 44. I think the lawsuit had merit. I think he also is kind of watching his empire collapse a little bit with Tesla.
Yeah.
As you see, they're not meeting quotas. They've dropped a significant amount over the last couple of months. It's been up and down for him in regards to that. I think diversification of his empire is a big deal. And to be quite honest with you, social media is where you do it, man. I mean, if you look, and I'm not trying to be a dick. Gotta listen to him all the time. But you look at Joe Rogan. I mean, he's getting paid $100 million for talking about fucking turkeys and and how being a comedian is like the modern day equivalent of finding out, the finding the city of gold. I mean, these fucking guys like talking about, you don't understand the art, the craft. I mean, this dude made $100 million doing that. So I think Elon Musk is just extrapolating the possibility of completely exploiting social media.
Look at this here too. So a lot rides on. Elon's a smart guy, and he knows. I have a suspicion that he knows the real deal about like climate change and shit. Hear me out.
Oh, he probably knows a lot.
No. But what I mean is like,
he doesn't know about condoms,
his industry. No, he doesn't. His industry rides very hard on the political landscape.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And how it turns. If there's a big major conservative swing, that could be very detrimental to his empire, right? Like just kind of in a broad stroke analysis. Right. I'm not going to get into details, but if you just you could entertain that. And all I'm doing here is putting out possibilities for.
No, I like it. I like where this is going.
Okay. So very much of his future could rest on the political landscape and what decisions are made in Washington. That being said, what is one of the best ways to manipulate and control the political landscape, which has been proved, right, is the social media, like you just pointed out.
Right.
So that may be the motivation. And he always maybe knew that like, hey, I need to acquire Twitter, and tried his way. And then, like you said, was like, okay, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to have to, but he had to have it.
I think it was a game.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think he's trying to poison Twitter. So I think he's trying to poison Twitter to try to get a cheaper pound. I mean, the guy definitely knows what he's doing. It's just people like to shit on him. He's a smart guy, right? But I think he's just extrapolating. He looks at all these fucking, and I'm not trying to hate on comedians, because I mean, they're funny people. I mean, could they rip me in half? Could they say bad things about me? Of course. And they'd probably be pretty funny at it. But the reality is guess what?
I don't know why that's so funny.
That is fucking funny.
Just like you reduce their whole yeah, great. You spent your whole life and
I mean,
maybe you could make people laugh about me and make fun of me. Fuck you.
Fuck you. I mean, fucking
that's all you did though.
It's true though. I mean, my
whole life.
It's
so true.
Yeah, my 12-year-old ripped on me, and it was pretty
all
fucking good.
All we have to do to neutralize your entire life is turn the microphone off.
Exactly. And you really don't bring anything to this universe that isn't special. So he looks at basically this bottom of the wrong barrel that's basically trying to recreate how special. I mean, these motherfuckers are acting like they're modern day, fucking what's his fucking name, Michelangelo's and Da Vinci's, and it's like, slow your roll. All right, you make some fucking people laugh with dick jokes. Move on. But I think he extrapolates what they're able to do with their small presence are just small overall cognizance. And I think what he's doing is he's extrapolating beyond that. I think he sees that he can kind of move on even from Tesla with Twitter. So I think it's a big deal. I think he's moving on. We could see a Elon Musk who actually is going to somehow go beyond the current technology and social media and somehow evolve it, which the dude's fucking smart. I mean, people could say whatever, but he's not bad. Like I said, doesn't know how to use condoms, but pretty smart guy.
Yeah, he really is, man.
Yeah, pretty smart guy. So we'll see. He's going all in on it. So I think it's cool. I think I like to see where this is going. I like to see what he's able to do. And I want to see this. I want to see this. But does he basically rob what Trump was trying to do with social media with the truth? Yeah. Does he basically just jack that idea and then use the biggest platform in the world to do it with?
For that specific purpose and for that age group of people. You know what I mean? Like that's where all the politicians are on, is Twitter.
Yep.
So and here's the other thing too, is like, if you'll notice, right? Like he, at a certain point, he started to turn, once again, not to say, I don't know, like I could be wrong about this, but my trying to get to the core of this whole thing, I think there is evidence to point to the fact that he did realize how much of his enterprise relies on political. That's why he started getting involved in that shit.
Oh yeah.
Publicly. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then also having more, if you notice, more like conservative statements.
Yeah.
Shit, right. To kind of spread the wealth a little bit.
Right.
So he's not stupid, dude.
No, he's very smart. He's very smart. If you think he gives a fuck about anything but himself, you're kind of stupid, because the reality is he built a product. He built a product that appeals to a liberal base. And now he's sucking off the conservative base to get them to buy his liberal base products. Mm-hmm. So, and then with him taking over Twitter, I think he's going to take Trump's concept of what could happen with truth media, but he's going to make it work. Because we all know Trump's fucking stupid. I mean, barring Rick going, he's not. He's a fucking dumbass. And well, actually now Rick from the last episode said, no, fuck Trump. He's all for DeSantis, who, I still think he's an asshole. But in the end, you do see this happening. You do see a complete about face for Elon Musk and Twitter. So I think he's seeing the collapse of Tesla. And I think he's looking for a new gig. So I think it's kind of cool to see this happen. I wonder what he's going to do. I do wonder what he's going to do with it. So, and of course, to all the comedians out there who listen to us, please forgive me for my characterization of your weak, sad, antagonistic points of view, which basically anyone can do anywhere at any time.
Except for shout out to my cousin in
he's fucking funny.
Mississippi. He's a stand-up
That's
comedian.
a funny motherfucker.
Hell yeah. I'll shout it. I'll do some social media.
Oh, you got to plug it in. But he's funny. But the rest of you guys, but see, I bet your cousin though, right, isn't trying to self-model himself as a modern day.
Well, no, and he does
Leonardo da Vinci,
and he does real world shit too.
Well, you know what I'm saying though. But
you know what I mean? Like he's a real person.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to go
for the love of the game.
I'm not trying to go for my rant, bro.
No, I know what you were doing.
But it's fucking stupid. It's fucking dumb, right? You see these fuckers act like, you see them talk as if like they talk about, you gotta grind like 15 years. You can, bro. Nobody gives a shit at all. Like, I get it, bro. You grinded 15 years. Well, I went to school for fucking 15 years. Everything takes work. It's like this concept, like, well, if you work really hard, you're gonna get better. No shit. Yeah. Right.
It's everything.
It's everything. So,
but what do you choose to be better at?
Well, no, but don't act like you're special,
right?
Because you're not. Nobody. There's nothing that you're doing that's special. You just got lucky, and life goes on. So, nonetheless, that's the end of my rant. That's all I'm saying. And I think Elon Musk has picked up on basically he's a path of least resistance. So he's like, hey, if these fucking morons are making $100 million, what can I do? and he extrapolates it. So smart dude, lots of kids, kind of weird, got some strange forehead, but you know what? Life goes on. Yeah. But you know what's one fucking thing I want to hear about? I want to hear about this fucking epic walk, bro. As we cruising in towards the end of this fucking podcast, I want to hear about this epic walk. I see if anyone who's following us on the social medias, Mr. Benjamin James went on a solo epic walk through the city of Houston, once again trying to either recreate some moments in the Matrix or just trying to find one in himself. How was the walk, B? What did you find?
It was, as always, it was amazing. So to give a little bit of quick Reader's Digest backstory, for years and years and years, I've gone on. This will be number 4. Inspired by an article that came out in the Houston Press of somebody determined to walk the entire length of Westheimer, I think it's Farm Road 1016. Anyway, Houston, it's a major thoroughfare that runs, right? Yeah, it's from start to finish. It's 60 miles. So that was an article that came out in the Houston Press. Author was named John Nova Lomax. I just got to give him a shout out. Because that was the initial idea. So I read that, and being somebody who grew up and along, I moved around a lot as a youth, but primarily around the surroundings that were documented in this article. So it hit very close to home, and it also was kind of inspiring. I was like, hey, I get it. There was a philosophical idea behind it. I bought in, so I did it myself. I did it myself a few times. I liked it so much, and it's hard to actually describe why I liked it so much without doing it. So I would invite other people. Ben went with me one time. We did sort of a modified. We did a fucking modified version. We saw some weird shit, some sort of extra dimensional shit, if you will. But the point of the journey, it's like, so the reason I chose to do it this week, I'm in between. I was able to land a new position in my career, which is a big move. It's a big step. So for the first time in my adult life, I did it right this time. The last few times I've switched jobs, I would just had this like worker bee mentality, like, oh, fuck it, I'll start Monday. Like, I got to put in my 2 weeks, but I'll work right up until that, blah, blah, blah. I'll start Monday, blah, blah, blah. This time I'm like, you know what? No, I'm calling the shots here. I will start for you when my 2 weeks has expired from my old job. And then I need a week in between to transition. They were totally cool with that. So boom.
What are you transitioning into?
I wound up,
will this be a new pro now? Is this
no,
your
no,
big...
no identity, no pronouns. But anyway, that's a long introduction. So I walked the other day. I got dropped off, and this time instead of Westheimer or some alternate route. My goal was this. I wanted to be on Beltway to downtown, right? Nice. So I got dropped off Beltway in Richmond, walked all the way downtown. I think I cut. I started kind of making the cut on Shepherd and then kind of zigzagged my way to like West Dallas and then rode up along Bagby all the way to the Post, which is it's the original facility of the Houston Post, a now dead Houston News. There used to be the Chronicle and the Post. Now there's just the Chronicle. The Post has been dead for years. But anyway, that building, they rejuvenated and made this sort of attraction, right? There's shopping, there's bars, there's restaurants. And then there's also this really pretty roof sort of thing that they set up. There's also a concert hall, right? They have live music. So it's really cool. It's something they rejuvenated for the central district of the city. It's really cool. So that was my goal. So I did it, and I did it this time solo. This is the first time I've done a solo. So just a couple things I wanted to point out. Like I said, on paper, it seems like a physical, I'm used to walking, really just the job that I do. The actual walking of it is not too big of a deal for me. Not to be like, like I'm so whatever. I walk honestly on like a regular shift for the type of work that I do. I walk the equivalent of about 10 to 12 miles. So this wasn't like out of the question physically whatsoever. So that's not the point. The point is more of, and this is something I've never pointed out when talking to people, but I realized what I was doing at this time was that, an unwritten rule of this project is you don't look behind you. Oh. The whole thing is no. You look.
Yeah, I don't think I ever looked behind either. Yeah, when we did that, you just keep fucking hoofing forward.
There you go. And the beautiful part of that was I finally realized that's that's my bridge into describing people why this is so powerful, because you're physically, or at least how I interpreted it, I'm once again in the midst of a big change I'm about to take, a mental shift. There's a lot of things going on I won't go into detail about, but the whole point of this thing is to go into that without, that's a big part of where I'm at in my life right now, is shedding, that your past is always there, but every single day you wake up is a new opportunity for, right? Theoretically, it's you, like, yeah, you still have to live with decisions you made, but everything you do from that point on is for it. So anyway, that's part of the big thing. Plus it's covering territory, right, that notoriously Ben and I have existed in as young people. And so that's part of the joy of it. But I will say this is the one thing I want to point out just on the cuff. Some of those parts are not either worse or better than when we remember them. And it's kind of surprising how it's reversed. Like some of the more sketchier individuals were actually further out west,
right?
Not too far from my mom's crib, that we kind of famously described on other episodes back in the past. If you want to scroll through those, you'll just have to gold mine.
Nice.
They'll skip the noise nuggets. I won't tell you exactly what episode. You got to go listen. Go start from whatever available episode is first. Work your way back, like some folks do. Props to them. But anyway, I've just discussed many stories. A lot of these stories that have Ben and I's youth that have come up on the podcast occurred within the territory covered along this walk. Dude. So that's part of the reason. Yeah, there's some parts that are way shadier than I remember them, and then there's parts that are way nicer. So it's kind of funny how things transition. So it's a nice little journey to recover territory, especially recovering it on foot, because this is a stretch of there's not a lot of people out fucking walking, dude. And it was a nice day.
Nope.
That's just the nature of how things work, right? There's not Houston's not a pedestrian friendly city for the most point. It's moving that way, like it wants to be.
I mean, I think it has to be with just the population, right?
Yeah, it has to be now. Right. There's just by the sheer like density, there's going to be people out, but it's not set up. I mean, it's specifically not set up for foot traffic. It's obviously had most of its growth after the advent of the automobile in American culture. So anyway, it's a journey in that regard, because you're covering territory that you sometimes feel like, man, this shit, like there's probably a fucking million people that live within a couple miles of this shit. I don't know how many of them have walked over it on foot besides homeless people singing to themselves,
Oh boy.
And so that's part of the journey too. I did see one thing I'll point out before we move on, kind of start wrapping it up. And I'm sure I'll touch on this later, but in summary, it was a great journey once again to cover it. It was kind of interesting to do it by myself. This is the first time I'd never had anybody. So it gave a lot of, time to reflect whatsoever. Right. I will open it up and say that this may not even be the last one I do this year. My schedule was kind of opened up a little bit. So I really, seeing the value of it this time, because of what I said earlier, kind of pointed out, hey, it's cool. And, people react to it real positively when I tell them about it. Some people are like, hey, I've never even thought of that. So anyway, the invite is open. We can make it like a skip the noise thing. Hit me up in the DMs of the social medias if you even remotely interested, and I'll definitely put you on a short list of people I reach out to when we're planning the next one. So you may join.
Well, we're reaching out.
Could be a fun.
I want to do another one of those. I think that was the one thing. I think for anyone who's out there, this is a cathartic moment, because it is. There is something about saying that. I mean, we traversed. God, we were fucking hoofing. We did it. We did it quick. 16 and we weren't fucking 3.5.
Yeah,
we were fucking moving, and I think at one point, halfway into the walk, you're like, "Fuck, dude, we are fucking hoofing it."
Dude, we were
and it was good. It was fun. So for anyone out there, it's one of those things that you think like, oh, you're just fucking walking for a while, but when you really think about it, when was the last time you walked 16 miles?
Yeah,
right. When did you just do something in quiet? You got your phone on you, but you're not really looking at your phone because you're fucking walking the city streets. You don't have headphones on. You're just you're present for 4 hours, truly present, or 5, depending on your pace. But you're truly present really there. There's not too many times when you can say that all the time. So I think it's a great experience. So I'm hoping to, of course, do it again. I think it's for anyone who is capable physically. It's just a good time. So if once we announce our next one, we'd love to have people come with us. I think for sure I'm going to be trying to join Mr. Benjamin James. You may have the brown python and everything, and we probably might be looking for a fall winterish date, because I'll tell you right now, walking in 50 degrees. Substantially better than walking in 95 degrees.
It is substantially
so. You never know. You never know. So we might be taking that, but this is a I say it's one of the better experiences. I think when me and Ben did ours, it was just me and him. We walked and it was great. And you know what the best part was? I think the part that makes me laugh the most is when your mom picked us up. Mind you, me and Ben have been friends for well over 30 years. I think we're closing. Yeah, we're over 30 years now. So me and this cocksucker have been around each other our whole lives. So we've always kind of known each other. But the best part was when his mom picked us up and then took us to go get Whataburger. The funny thing was his mom had done that when we were kids. When I was a 12 or 13-year-old child.
It's like a shift.
Yeah. His mother did the same. She was driving. And I remember being a 12 or 13-year-old car in the back seat eating Whataburger. And then it happens again when you're 40. It is a moment where you kind of sit back and go, fuck, while everything's changed, nothing really has. So it's kind of a beautiful moment. So I always remember that your mom took us to Whataburger.
And she did part of it is like location, right? Like she's primed to where it's like thing. But I'll also shout out to her because she gets it. Like, and the reason she participates in this shit is because she gets it. Yeah. And like when I hit her up this time, I was like, hey, I'm about to do one of these stupid things. And there was parts she tried to talk me out of the route and all this stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? No, she did. And I was just like, you know what? I get it. I respect your wishes, but I'm going to have to decline. This was the vision I had. This is how it's good. Yeah. Like that's the whole point, that she gets it and like wants to be a part of it. Yeah. So, it's really fun because
it's Whataburger, bro.
For her, she thinks it's cool. And yeah, exactly. So anyway, it was just overall a great thing. It seems, like I said, it may seem strange, but there's this thing where it's like, so for whatever reason, it's like perfectly, oh yeah, you go hike in the mountains, blah, 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 right? You're taking in natural territory. Yeah. Well, this is like an exercise in hiking through a different type of environment, right? Right. Like an environment that like my brain was shaped by. So these connections and these interactions are familiar to me in a way that resets me like to my natural state, to where I can then baseline and say, where am I going from here? Right. Like that's the whole philosophy behind not turning behind you. It's forward motion. It's a defined goal with a starting point and an end point. So there's a victory, right? When you get to the end, there's a little moment, right? Light up a cigar, have a beer or a coffee or even a peanut butter mocha, which they serve at this little place that I actually had. I was done. Like I already had like a beer. I already had,
he said, fuck it. I'm going for all the beverages.
I went the trifecta. And then as I'm walking out, this lady's like, hey, did you want to try we've got specials on our peanut butter mocha. And I'm like, you know what? Absolutely. Where do I sign up? And so I did, first time I've ever used Apple Pay, because you got an extra 20% off if you use the Apple Pay. So I was like, of course I'm gonna use Apple Pay.
Dude, I use Apple Pay like a motherfucker, bro. I like that shit. I like just being able to pay everything on my phone.
It's nice. It's convenient.
Nice. It is nice. And I think everyone needs to do things like this. Like you have to sometimes go above and outside of your comfort zone. So I think it's cool. So so hopefully we'll probably try to get one of these in either this year or probably early next year in early spring, while the temperatures are still reasonable, because I enjoy them. They're awesome. Me and Ben have had a history of also being long distance runners, so it's just something we've always done. Yeah, I maybe have to retire my boots. Yeah, I may have to retire my boots, unfortunately, as the good old knees they don't like it as much anymore. But we've always been long distance runners, so it's just like you said, just it's an extension of being able to test the body. But with that said, I think we're going to try to start wrapping this bitch up. It was if any of y'all are trying to, if you have any ideas or questions, for us, please let us know. I think where can they reach us at, B?
They can reach us primarily Instagram. It's kind of the face of the show, social media wise. It's at skip_the_noise_podcast. Basically, Skip the Noise Podcast with underscores in between the words. That also on Twitter, Skip the Noise PO1. TikTok, just search Skip the Noise Podcast. I can't remember what the exact handle is. That shows you how much I've invested in that mentally. But we do have TikTok, and I do pretty much try to promote the shows as they come out. But that's your way. If you're listening to this, if you catch wind of this, that's your way to get at me. Like I said, if you want to make any kind of shit, if you want to be on the damn show, I do. If this is the first time listening, sometimes I'll do the live shows on the Podbean. That's an interesting way to kind of interact with new people. Try to take calls live on the air, and then I'll record, or I'll edit it down and release it as an episode. So if you want to be on something like that, I'll let you know the next time I'm going on, so you can get ready and get comfortable and enjoy that ride with us. But anyway, with that being said, sorry, Brown Python couldn't be here this week.
We miss him.
He was greatly missed, but it was he's got a really good reason.
Yes, he does. He's going to enjoy his evening.
He really will. And also too, before we go, great job last week, man. Y'all fucking killed it. I was absent, and that was a really, really good listen. So shout out to you guys.
Yeah. And anyway, also I'd like to take a quick shout out to all the comedians out there. Sorry, but not really sorry.
Said what he said.
I said what I said. Yeah. If you're out there and you're a big comedian, and probably gonna be able to make fun of a 40-something-year-old man who has been pretty average his whole life, take a crack at it. Because guess what? I have heard it all, motherfuckers. So there's nothing special about what you're gonna say. So if you let me know. But if not, if you'd like to come join the show, let us know, because we're always open. So our door is always open for everybody. If you got some questions, or if you want to come on and crack some jokes, just come hang out. But and that's before we get any small nuclear weapons thrown at us. But good night, everybody, and be careful. And also, remember the tip jar. So if you guys ever feel so inclined to drop a couple of your hard-earned cash, so that we can continue to do stupid shit on this podcast, just let us know. We would greatly appreciate it. As you know, everything costs money these days. Everything does.
It does. This show's a labor of love. So yeah, if you would help us out any way you can, that would be greatly appreciated. You don't have to, but it's a positive thing if you would. So Good Pods, that's the app. Download that. It's free. And you follow the show, Skip the Noise Podcast. Just give us a follow. And like I said, it'll link you to that tip jar. So thank you for that in advance. But other than that, have a good week. We will see you next time. Bye.